Hey guys, welcome to day 15 or the first day of week 3. This is the end of the day, so or at least close enough. So I'm gonna kind of let you know some things, and also today was weigh in. So again, I'm gonna show you that I decided. Yes, I recorded it, and I'm gonna show you guys. That way, you know I'm being fully transparent. I'm not gonna hide the numbers. I told you I started my journey at 315 pounds. After my first week, I lost 11 pounds. I was at 311. Or no, I'm not a 311. 304. The 304? Did I just say that? 304.5 if you want to get precise. I believe it was 304.5. So I will give you the exact, I'm going to show you the video and you can see for yourself the results. But overall, just wanted to sum up. So I've had some ups and downs. I think for some of you, if you're watching this and you're following my journey, if you're behind me in the journey and you're kind of curious of like, God, what am I going to expect? It's going to vary from person to person. Like I've watched a ton of people's videos. I watched some other people doing this video. And I think there's different approaches. I think people have different levels of mental addiction to food. Mine's really severe. I didn't realize how severe it truly was until I get around all these other foods. Now, my advice is obviously if you can, clear those foods out of the home. If you can't, and you're like in me in a divided household, it takes a lot of strength, and you have to program yourself mentally to understand that yes, the food smells amazing or whatever, like the junk food, but that's just it. It's junk food. It's poison. It's tasty, tasty poison. Okay? And that's the thing. So you really have to program yourself for it. Again, today, I'm just letting y'all know my family had Chinese food. Okay? And it smelled amazing. You know, I thought the pizza smelled good yesterday. Was it yesterday or Saturday? Saturday night, I think, was a pizza. Yeah, that's right. I thought the pizza smelled good Saturday night. The Oriental food, when I picked it up today and I smelled it the whole way home, it smelled amazing. But again, I have to tell myself there's a lot of things in there, and I'm not trying to offend, the history of Oriental food. What I'm saying is that in that food in particular, for me, there's things in there I just, it's just too much things they're just too toxic for me. And I feel like over the thousands of years, all of our societies have developed these sort of bad habits, and and they weren't real bad until we really got into like, the modern type era, especially with the government food pyramid, which was, if you do your research on that, there's no science really behind that. Anyways, so, but it smells so good. So again, mental cravings, right? Mental. Just got to fight it. And I know people say, well, if you eat your meat and your bacon and your eggs, and you're gonna feel satisfied, and it takes away from those cravings. Yes, yes, and no. Again, I'm telling you, I know that everybody, when they hear the carnivore diet and they hear people's testimonies, they want to hear nothing but positive. And believe me when I tell you that almost everything is positive. It's not the diet. The diet's great. And yes, for the most part, I have been satiated very well through most of my time. Again, I've been having some hunger in the mornings when I wake up. Not sure what that's about, but it goes away. And I feel pretty solid. Again, the bloating, the anti-inflammation, all of those things have subsided, and I feel better. I do. Um, but there's still deep mental cravings, deep programming, I should say. I really don't think it's my body. I don't think it's my brain. You know, they say, oh, your brain is like, well, let me clarify. I don't think it's my brain in the natural sense. I think it's the brain that was just programmed from the constant, because, you know, I've been eating, you know, and enjoying these foods for my life, my whole life. You know, I grew up in a family that my grandmother cooked, and she was a good cook, and she cooked a variety of foods. So it was something I looked forward to, was the different foods. So again, that's kind of a programming of, you know, that lack of variety in that sense. Now, one thing I want to address real quick, and I'm just putting this out there, is, you know, Dr. Ken Berry said in one of his little newer behind the scenes videos, and he was talking about, you know, when people were talking about variety and stuff like that, and he was talking about, you know, you just got to grow up. You got to grow up and, you know, eat the foods. I don't exactly agree with that. I don't. I get what his point. I know what his point was. But I'm also here to say that it's just so embedded into us of the culture that we grew up in, especially if you grew up in the 70s, 80s, and you know what I mean? Like, once that food pyramid and all that stuff was coming out, and the blowing up of like all the fructose stuff, corn syrup, all the experimentations that seemed like in the 80s, all these bastardizations, fiber commercials everywhere. It just was so programmed deeply into somebody like myself that grew up appreciating food. I grew up appreciating the variety that my grandmother cooked. I appreciated the flavors and building the profiles. Some people said, "Hey, you should have been a chef." I just don't appreciate serving a lot of people. So, but oh, I think my teeth seem to be getting a little whiter. By the way, I don't know. That's just me. I don't know. I'm not proud of my teeth. My teeth have had a lot of problems, and again, because of my poor diet. You know. Uh, so yeah, I mean, there's just, and Ozark was talking to me a little bit about this too, and he was in the comments, and he was, you know, asking my thoughts about some things, and was really hoping that I would get past some of that, and I'm working on it. So don't get me wrong, I'm not going to give up, because one thing about the carnivore diet, okay, is, look, even if you are fighting the mental part of the cravings, you can always resort back to your stomach and say, I feel good, I feel solid. That's the backup, that's the support, right? Whereas other diets, you really are continuously getting hungry throughout the day, and then you don't start feeling good. There's these effects. I'm telling you, when you eat a crappy diet, and you all probably know what I'm talking about. And like, you get later in the afternoon, maybe you try to tough it out. You're like, you know what? I'm going to try a little bit of fasting on a regular diet, just fasting. And you know, you get to later in the day, and your body's like really crazy, and just, it's almost like going into these drug withdrawals in a way. And it's like, I need some good sugary foods. I need some carbs. I need some stuff, man. And it'll make you feel all kinds of ways. And I know there's a bunch of science behind it, but I'm just saying, I'm talking reality. I'm not here to shove down a lot of technical stuff. There's better channels for that. Just telling you my diary. I'm just talking. So yeah, I think that you need to acknowledge, in all people, and maybe people like Dr. Ken Berry and things like that. And I'm not just trying to single him out, but some of these other doctors, I think they truly need to understand that it's not just as easy as, hey, suck it up, buttercup, grow up and just eat meat, butter, and eggs, you know? Because even on one hand, I think in one of the videos, he went on one of the podcasts, and they were like, hey, what are you going to have today? And he named off like this kind of variety of of things that were all kind of carnivore, but you could tell there was some variety. So it's like, hey, you're not just eating meat, bacon, and eggs, blah, blah, blah. You are kind of mixing up a little bit of variety in there. You just learned, a little more of your scope limits, and you're giving yourself that variety within that narrow scope of limits. And that's what I'm trying to do. I am going to try to cut out a little more cheese. I have like those couple carnivore pizzas in 1 week time frame. I am going to work on that. So, but without further ado, let's just get into the weigh-in. So let's start there. All right. So, yeah. So you can see, there you go. 302.5. So I lost exactly 2 pounds, and I'm not ashamed of that. Some people would be like, well, you could look, I ain't gonna take away from that because it's a step in the right direction. See, before carnivore, it would have been +2, right? So, another key tip that you really have to work on, for especially somebody like myself, patience, right? I'm a very patient person. But when it comes to weight loss, here's the thing. Like I hear all these great stories like, man, I've been on carnivore for 3 months, 4 months, and I lost 75 pounds, whatever it is. I lost all this, and you're just like, wow, that's a lot of weight in 3 months and all this stuff. And then when you lose like 2 pounds, you're like, you're like, well, 2 pounds over 12 weeks. I guess that could be, 24 pounds. That's no 75 pounds. Like, am I going to be on the right path? But don't worry about that. First of all, everybody's different, and you always have an opportunity to learn. Just like for me, I lost weight eating a bunch of freaking meat and bacon and those carnivore pizzas. I still lost weight. Could have been more? Sure. Because I think the cheese, like some people have mentioned in the comments, probably slowed that down. So you got to learn. And you got to say, well, maybe I can still have some cheese, but I'm going to cut it down quite a bit. Maybe I won't do the pizzas. We'll cut it down and then occasionally maybe have a pizza. Also, somebody suggested pork rinds. I know like Max, and they replied also. I replied with Max, and then they replied as well with another thing. It's in my comments if y'all want to see it. It's I just don't have it on me. I just remembered. But for me, I know Max is like a 2 ingredient. I think it's just like pork skins and salt, So I don't know how they do it, if it's fried in like a seed oil or anything, but I seem to have reacted very well to it. But Max, and I think Max you can even find even in Walmart. I find them at one of our local grocery stores as well. So to me, I may pick up some. I might pick up some just for some snacks if I decide to. But so far, I've been kind of... Oh, and I snacked on some... Oh, and that's right, guys. I always try to tell you everything I ate. So now that you see my weigh-in, let me tell you what I ate. And I'm going to start with the middle of the night because it was one of those snack moments when... So there's always these big challenges in my life, and just like it's going to be in yours, right? And a lot of times it's going to be involving some of your favorite stuff. And I'm not talking about, like, for me, yes, I love coffee. I love coffee. But it's not a love, like, it's not as deep of a passionate love as like pizza and certain things like that. So another form of deep, passionate love when it comes to food, and I know this is gonna sound crazy, but I'm gonna share this with you guys. My diary. So when I was growing up, and when I was a little kid, my grandma one time, for like a snack before bed one time, made me some club crackers and a few slices of cheese. I don't remember how many crackers, maybe 4 or 5 or something, and a few little slices of cheese. And That has been since my childhood. Just every once in a while. Not always. I didn't eat a lot of club crackers and cheese, but every once in a while I would pick up a box and I would, get some cheese and I would have cheese and crackers every once in a while. You know, it goes back to my childhood. It's just a comfort. It's that love. Um Last night my wife wanted some cheese and crackers. She was going to have saltines. I found that there was a big old box of club crackers because I forgot I had bought a few weeks ago a big family sized box of club crackers because I was going to have crackers and cheese, and then there was a few things that I did like that. I bought a few things, and then when I decided to go on carnivore, it was like right after Thanksgiving. I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm going carnivore. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do the 90 days. I'm going to go from there. And as a result, I had leftover foods. And this was one of them. And I told my wife, I said, hey, what would you rather have, club crackers than saltines? She's like, yeah. She's like, I didn't want to take them from you. I'm like, well, I'm not going to have them now. So I made them for her. And it was tough. It was tough in a way. But at the same time, you know what? You guys, remember I had that carnivore pizza the other day? Well, I had some leftover pepperonis. So guess what? I snacked on some pieces of pepperoni, and soon the craving was gone and the memory was past, and I had moved on. So it's those big challenges, like tonight's, Chinese food. I love Chinese food. I love it. Smelled amazing. But in the end, what did I have? I had some of my leftover meat from when I did the pizza. Or no, from last night actually, because I didn't finish all my meat. I had some leftover meat, ground beef, ground chuck, 80/20, and it was in my Tupperware container. I went ahead and cracked 4 eggs into a pan, and I just did like a loose, quick scramble. I didn't like whip them and stuff. I just kind of did them in the hot pan with butter and just took the spatula and scrambled them. So they still had a bunch of chunks of white in there too and stuff. And salt, Himalayan salt. And then when they were about done, I threw the cold hamburger meat on top, so that way it could just kind of warm up and kind of mix with the eggs and all that. And then I took 4 pieces of bacon. Well, actually, I want to say it's 2 pieces of bacon, but it's 4 halves. I took that and I laid them across the top of the eggs because I didn't really want to break them up and mix them up with that today. I just laid them across the top just to warm them up. I didn't want to have cold bacon today. I figured I'd just have warm bacon. So I laid them across the top as I turned the heat off. I just kind of let them warm up as I grabbed some like dinner or some paper plates and stuff. And so anyways, so that's what I had for dinner. Just that. And I reintroduced some tea. Okay. Unsweet. Now it's funny because, in the comments, oh man, I don't have her name, but she was like, unsweet tea. She's like, you talking about, like, is that regular tea? Like, I never heard of that. And it's like, let me just say, I clarify when I say unsweet tea. The reason why I just say that is because if you just make tea, right, and you don't add sugar, that's unsweet tea, But I live in the South. I used to live even deeper in the South. I'm from the North originally, but I've been in the South way longer than the North now. But I'm still always going to be a damn Yankee, right? But regardless, living in the South, being married to a Southern woman, everything's sweet tea. All right? Everything's sweet tea. So I specify that way, you guys, if I just said, hey, I had some tea with dinner, some of you might be like, was it sweet? Did you have sugar? I just like to specify. So that's why I say it, okay? But yeah, I tried to reintroduce some tea just to see what's gonna happen. I did go potty after dinner finally. I try to let you guys know each day. I went potty after dinner. It was okay. It was okay. Nothing crazy to report. And let's see. But yeah, I think all in all, in these first couple weeks, I've lost 13 pounds. And, you know, I feel good. The carnivore diet's mostly kept me satisfied the whole time. And and here's the thing, if you wake up and you are hungry, like I told you, keep some of that bacon handy. Or if you happen to have some, even if it's as bad as like lunch meat, right? Lunch meat is a whole topic that, I've done a lot of research on as well. But it's kind of like what some of them will tell you. Some of the carnivore doctors will tell you, like, if you don't have access to good meats like ribeyes and things like that all the time, hey, if you have to bologna and bologna, hot dogs, those type of meats, hey, I mean, you do the best you can, but at least it's better than, right? It's better than that fried foods and all this other stuff. So, like I said, when I needed a snack last night, I could have broken into my bacon, but I had that pepperoni. It's like, well, I better use that pepperoni because, or better eat some more of that pepperoni. I don't want it to go bad, things like that. So, it's just being useful, being resourceful. And I've hardly had any food waste. So that's, I notice that whenever I'm cleaning up dinner now or cleaning up my family, like I throw out a lot of stuff. It's crazy. And I mean, we do keep leftovers. Don't get me wrong. We'll keep leftovers. When I made the mac and cheese, we kept it left over for my son. That way he could have like a lunch. He had mac and cheese one day. We do try to do the whole leftovers thing, but there's just so much extra garbage that is with these foods. So it's crazy. And then I hardly ever have anything left over. And if I do have anything left over, sometimes I'll save it, just like last night, and I ate it today, with more eggs and more stuff. Or worst case scenario, I give it to my dog who loves it because it's carnivore food. So anyways, I know this video's kind of gotten a little long, but it was beginning of week 3, summarization of week 2. So I just wanted to kind of really talk and let you guys know my summary, how I felt, where my head's at with the carnivore diet. I am sticking to it, and I plan on sticking to it. Again, I want to keep filing this out. I've got food in the fridge prep still, and I'm looking forward to it. I really am, and I'm trying to keep mentally programming myself. Okay, and then also I want to spend a little bit of time, real quick. Thank you again for all the comments. I mean, and if I ever miss your guys' name or something like that, like if you're around and you're like a regular, I'll remember. Like Rick Van Man and Ozark and stuff. These guys have already been regulars. And I'm getting a few, like I said, I'm starting to get a few more people comment on there. And again, I'm sorry, I'll learn your name eventually here as we go. And I try to shout out to you. But I just want to say thank you again to everybody. You guys, I'm telling you, it really matters. And let me let you in on one more secret. I think if I wasn't doing this, if I wasn't daily vlogging, I don't know if I would stick with it. I know. That could be disappointing to some of you guys. I just mean it in the sense that given the amount of challenges for me. Now, should I stick with it? Should you guys stick with it? Absolutely. Am I going to stick with it? Yes. A lot of it does help that I feel like an obligation to answer to you guys. Right? It's like, and I don't want to lie. Like, it'd be easy to just be like, I didn't have to tell you about the pepperoni, or I didn't have to, you know what I mean? It would be easy to I could have had some club crackers and cheese and not told you guys. I could have just said, well, I had some cheese. And I could have left out those stuff. But I want to be as honest as I can. I want to be completely honest with you guys. because I want to be on that judgment table sometimes. I know it's crazy, but all the tips, the good kind words, your own stories, when I hear you guys talk about your own success stories, or some of the products you use and things like that, these are all helpful things. That's why I try to respond back to you guys on every comment, because I want to show you how much I'm grateful for that and how much it really has meant for my journey. Can't believe I'm gonna. Sorry. Thanks, guys. Seriously, thank you. You guys mean a lot to me. It really helps. It does. We'll see you tomorrow.